because the whole continent is under attack now. The United States also is benefiting in form of cheap labor. So you cannot hold a country hostage because of $250 million. Ethiopia's trade with the United States is even less than $1 billion. If we strategically position ourselves together in the right way, we'll gain like maybe more than 500,000 jobs. You know, it's going to help the Ethiopian people and the African people in general to discover more their strength inside. The example that has been shown by the Prime Minister Abiy of insisting from the very beginning that the issue and problems of Africa should not be sent to the United Nations, should be solved at the African Union. This shows that this person believes in African solution.
Hello everyone, welcome to Connect Africa. So we have another session here at Connect Africa today. Our guest is Kwame Gonza from the Kwame Nkrumah Ideological Institute. Our topic for today is the delisting of Ethiopia from the African Growth and Opportunity Act, known as AGOA. Welcome, Kwame Gonza.
Thank you very much, my sister. Thank you, Mahlet. I bring you once again greetings from the Kwame Nkrumah Ideological Institute. And I'm glad to share with our viewers today on this channel. Those ones who have not subscribed, I ask them to subscribe so that we can continuously come to engage in these conversations and awareness about what is happening in our continent, so that we can further push the agenda of African unity. Yeah. These alternative sources of media today, like ours, that have been brought about by democratization in the media space, in this generation of technological advancement, give us an opportunity to inform ourselves about our continent, you know, in replacement of the fake news that has been and fake narrative that has been spread about. Mm-hmm. So I think that Connect Africa is the right place for people to be, for us to understand the affairs of our continent. And in this case, like today, how we are sharing about Ethiopia, yeah. Maybe the next day we'll be sharing about the different parts of Africa. So those who have not subscribed, they should subscribe, and then go ahead also to share with other people so that they can get this information as we build a strong Africa and as we continue to hold our own narrative and build our own narrative. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. There you go. So listen to our viewers. So you have to subscribe. So yeah, we always try to give our discussions, even if sometimes Ethiopia can be a case study, but still we try to give an analysis from the African point of view, from the Pan-African point of view. And thank you, Brother Kwame, for pointing out that. Okay, so as you have been following recently or a few days ago, the US government or the Biden administration have removed Ethiopia from AGOA. And what's interesting is, let me just say this, you know, by doing this, what's going to be affected or who is going to be affected is a number of thousands of 10,000s of women who have nothing to do with the war, as they say. I mean, as they say, it's because of the war, and losing job and whatnot, you know. Let's start, as we said, this is a Pan-African media platform, so we need to see things. Ethiopia, yes, Ethiopia is part of Africa, but also beyond Ethiopia. What are the pros and cons of the African Growth and Opportunity Act, or AGOA? Is Africa really benefiting from this US-Africa trade relationship?
I think, Mahlet, that is a very timely question for us to interrogate. But let's go back and examine when did the AGOA start, and why did it start? According to Obama, who came up with this initiative of AGOA, which is, as you said, the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act, which was enacted as a law that was supposed to start in 2000 up to 2008 for Africa to have an opportunity to export certain products, selected products, to the United States. And it was supposed to expire in 2008. It was extended to 2015 and consequently to 2025. Now, it will expire in about 3 years from now. But when you look at it, it is supposed to benefit to both of the sides. But when you look at the trade deals, in most cases, or even things which have been created as opportunities for Africa to benefit or to raise Africa at a certain level, and after a certain period, because of the Western world, how it has been presenting its ideas in form of aid, and as if they are NGOs, as if they are giving a free aid, charity to Africa. You find that at the end of the day, the Africans have benefited, but the other side has benefited more. You find that the Western world has been benefiting more in these relations, but they turn around in many cases and use these benefits which they have done, they have been having, they have been getting, and they want to use it in a certain way to over exploit the people. In this case, the AGOA, there's no a doubt that it has brought some benefits to Africa. That the jobs, for example, in Ethiopia itself, around 200,000 people, may be engaged in the industry, like in apparels, which the United States is doing a lot in Ethiopia, and organizations, companies like H&M, Tommy Hilfiger, and others, which are manufacturing suits and jeans and other forms of clothing, footwear, leather footwear, because there's a lot of leather in Ethiopia. But let us also not forget that the United States also is benefiting in form of cheap labor, because we need these jobs. In turn, also we are helping them, in such a way that they take back these products to their countries at an affordable price. Okay, and when they take these products which they have manufactured from Ethiopia, let us not forget that these are American companies. They take back these products to the United States, and when they enter the United States, they don't pay taxes, because they have already removed those taxes under AGOA. They are presenting these products as Ethiopian products, but the companies which are manufacturing these products are American companies in Ethiopia, and they go back to their country as Ethiopian. You see, so they benefit more than we do. That the products belong to them. So what they are supposed to bring to us actually is technology transfer. Maybe the skills transfer which we get in our countries is an advantage. That one, that by the time they leave, our people may have engaged in this skills transfer, the knowledge transfer, how to manufacture these things. I think that is a very good thing for us. Some jobs, we have got them. I think that is a very good thing. So what we need in return for us to do is that once they start intimidating, like how they are doing right now, that they will move these benefits, we also the government can come up, putting up like these factories. I really don't think that is a very expensive aspect. Put up some $100 million, come together like in the East African region, 4 countries, put out $50 million. These are not really huge amounts for countries to start up. And set up a factory and let us put up these things, because a lot of African countries, you see that they are importing a lot of used clothes, and yet we can do those things here. And we can, $200 million is a small money, which we can set up a factory. Even $100 million can set up a factory to manufacture, these clothing and then distribute it to our people. So I see that the skills transfer is important, has been important for us. And then the jobs, which they can take away because of like what Biden did, but they have benefited more, that these companies accumulate a lot of profits, super profits, to themselves, but they don't want to point this out. They present this as Ethiopia only benefiting. So this is what I see as a con in this. And then they want to hold the whole country hostage. When you look at the trade figures under AGOA, that Ethiopia under AGOA 2020 was trading $250 million. It exported around $250 million. Let us not forget that all this is not going to the Ethiopian government's pockets, even though it was exported under AGOA. Like I told you, like these apparels, they belong to American companies. So we have to look at what Ethiopia gained, maybe in the form of taxes, just a little bit of the taxes. So the Ethiopia economy is around more than $100 billion. So you cannot hold a country hostage because of $250 million. You cannot hold a country hostage because of this. A $100 billion economy, you cannot hold it hostage because of just $250 million. So I think that the decision should be made, and like the Prime Minister Abiy, has been consistent in his policy. He has to continue to stand firm, against this bully. When the United States has engaged in different tactics or trying to arm twist the government so that the government can negotiate with rebels, which is unacceptable. The United States doesn't negotiate with rebels. You can see what happened with Al-Qaeda when they bombed the United States, hijacked the planes in 9/11. The United States went out, did not go to negotiate with Al-Qaeda. They went to bomb them out there. Yeah. In the 60s, the Black Panthers, who were fighting for the civil rights, they didn't negotiate with them. They went out to destroy them. And these people were, demanding for justice. These were just causes, human rights causes. They went out to destroy them. So here we have a group that is destroying, industry, a country that is growing at a very fast rate. It is industrializing at, unbelievable speed. Just to give you a backdrop, Ethiopia is the fastest growing economy, according to data, since 2020 in Africa, and one of the 7 fastest growing economies in the world. It has been depositing incredible figures, tremendous, ever since Prime Minister Abiy came to power. It has been depositing more than 10%, 10%, percentage growth in GDP, and then it is slowed down a little bit to 6%, 6.1, up to 6.8% since the COVID. So they want to interrupt this. And this is what the Prime Minister is saying, that this is unacceptable. So if they have failed to support, Africa has said that you cannot interfere in the affairs of the continent or in the affairs of Ethiopia and how it is, conducting its affairs inside its policies. Ethiopia will be able to solve this problem. Now they are resorting to, blackmail, intimidation and other tactics. So this is where we are saying that Ethiopia has to stand on its own. This is actually an advantage, that this trade policy of AGOA is ending in 3 years. So a policy which is ending in 3 years cannot be used to hold the country hostage. The whole future, the future of the country hostage. We have a big economy, 100 billion. We have 3 trillion all over the continent. We have 1.4 billion people on the continent. So this is a huge market to absorb, 200. It's just a small piece of trade, which is $250 million, it can be absorbed all over the continent. So this is where I see that there may be some, small disadvantage. There may be a little pain for now, but on the whole, I think it will end up in a big way. It will end up being, a very big advantage for Ethiopia as we go forward.
Thank you very much, Brother Gonza, for that. What will be, the loss for Ethiopia? Yes, you have said it could be a little pain, but even that little pain, just to explain for our viewers what it will be and what it will, impact in the economy and the livelihoods of Ethiopians in terms of figure or in other terms as well. Ethiopia's situation is right now, we have been fighting to build the dam in our own territory and with our own money for the past 3 years, as you have seen. And then in the last 1 year, we have been engaged in this war that TPLF has started, and through time, which is evolved to be a hybrid war. And by the way, let's not forget that this hybrid war, TPLF, has been sponsored by the US. I am not making this up. This is what their spokesperson just in less than a month went out and told media that actually US has been encouraging the group to advance and control the capital of Ethiopia, and they have been pissed when they were chased back to their region after the prime minister went to the front line. So let's not forget that it really has to be clear this hybrid war was sponsored by the US and the big West, and by the UN supplying them technology also, for this rebel group. Now, so what it means, it's gonna worsen the situation in that direction, what it will mean for Ethiopia in terms of figure and in terms of worsening the situation and the so-called the Western's slogan, to the development and of a country, and then for the woman and all those slogans that they say they live by. The other thing is, how does the African Continental, this is a Pan-African media platform, so our job is usually to see it from that point of view. How do you think the African Continental Free Trade Area will fit into this, and in terms of replacing what Ethiopia lose from AGOA? And also, of course, what can be done, Ethiopia, Ethiopia has to maximize its export with other parts of the world, which it is doing already. Show us in terms of figure and others.
Thank you very much, Mahlet. There is definitely, like we said, there's going to be some, pain a little bit in the short, in the short while there will be a little pain, like we will lose those small, the jobs which were in the industry. Maybe they were saying there is some companies which are closed up. They were using a lot of propaganda, but I think that is also something which we really need to check on the ground and see whether those companies like H&M and all those are really closed up, and Tommy Hilfiger, which they were saying that they are closed up. So I think we need to check. They may have been also using propaganda, but we will check very well and come back with the right information. So if that is the case, we may get some, a little bit of pain, but let us forget also that the opportunity, like we said in the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, is very big. It's very big, and we are just building it up. The Africa Continental Free Trade Area is just opening up now. There's a lot of products. When you look at the products which Ethiopia has been exporting, like cloth, we said, coffee, even if they sabotage the other parts of the trade and products which have not been in the AGOA, like coffee and other things, agricultural products, when you look at the western part of the African continent, there is opportunities for you know, for the whole of the continent, and the people who are going to feel more pain in this issue actually is the Western companies, companies like Nestle, companies like Starbucks. Okay, all these ones, they will feel the pain if Ethiopia, for example, and the other African, East African countries that are into the growing of coffee, like Uganda, Tanzania, they go out and then start selling coffee to the western part of the continent, because the western and the northern part of the continent, there is no coffee there. So these products need to be transferred to that part then. Now, when we go around the continent and look at how many countries are manufacturing clothes, very few countries are manufacturing clothes. And still the East African region led by Ethiopia, it has that opportunity. There is an opportunity there for them to manufacture these clothes like jeans, which are being manufactured in Ethiopia, footwear, and export them to the other parts of the continent, North Africa, all this one, and West Africa. Replace, you know, the United States, its exports of used clothes, it is gaining a lot of money in exporting used clothes to, you know, to Africa. Okay, so we need to stop this. So they will feel the pain more. They will feel the pain more. So from agricultural products, whereby, you know, farmers in Texas have been flooding their goods like wheat to Africa. You know, they have been showing it so much like we will lose the most. But actually, we may lose 20,000 jobs, but you will find that we may gain like around 5, you know, if we strategically position ourselves together in the right way, we'll gain like maybe more than 500,000 jobs, and replace the 20,000 or 200,000. We will double the jobs which they will, you know, we will lose in this. So in this situation, I think that the United States has been using its leverage in a very bad way, that the powers that it has, instead of using them to better the world, they have been misusing them. Like they have been using their reserve currency for sanctions and all this. And the world has, you know, has moved in a different direction. The world is moving in a different direction. We are moving in a situation whereby we are supposed to cooperate together. We are supposed to work together as a people. If you're talking about human rights, and then we have this trade which is going to affect 20,000 or 200,000 jobs, and people on the ground, and you are talking about human rights, and you just wake up and say the trade is finished, that means you don't care about human rights. Exactly. You care about something different. You have a different agenda. Exactly. And this agenda for a very long time has been hidden, but now we know it. The agenda is to continue the colonization, you know, of a people. And that is what we are rejecting. That is why the Prime Minister is rejecting and saying, no, this direction, we can't continue to go in this direction. So the African Continental Free Trade Area, this is where I see that it comes in and replaces this type of, you know, this type of bullying and neo-colonialism that the United States and its allies have been moving, you know, around with. And then the other countries, you know, are there also of the world. Ethiopia exports a lot of stuff to Europe, exports a lot of stuff to Asia. If you look at its trade, Ethiopia's trade with China, around $3 billion, you know, in total. Ethiopia's trade with the United States is even less than $1 billion. Okay, so this is not something, this is just propaganda. What they are using actually is just to scare people, you know, to make statements which are high resounding and print them in the news and make it seem like a really, you know, big thing. But the Prime Minister has already declared a few months ago and said that the country is in a state of emergency. And that state of emergency, which was declared and said for the next 6 months, is still going on. So this, we should take it as part of that is going to bring about new strength. It's going to help us to discover more about ourselves. You know, it's going to help the Ethiopian people and the African people in general to discover more their strength inside. We say, let us not forget that there will be a little pain, but in this pain, they will bring out even new strength, because right now we didn't know that the Ethiopian government will be able to mobilize the whole African world and the whole world be able to defend itself, but it did. So in this case too, I believe that the Ethiopian government will be able to mobilize its people and the African people, to replace this 200, whether it is $250 million, whether it is 1 billion. So we can't use $1 billion of trade to hold a country of a GDP of more than 100 billion postage. No, is unacceptable. So the work of the Prime Minister, first of all, is to protect the welfare of his people. And I think he will be able to find a solution, even for these small amount of jobs which will be lost.
Yeah, as always, really, thank you very much for pointing out that you have really pointed out an important role what the African Continental Free Trade Area can play. As we always say here in at Connect Africa, I mean, our redemption is really in our unity. That's it. But again and again, you have mentioned it earlier, that things are becoming so obvious. Things are getting worse. It's not only Ethiopia in the continent, also other countries, how the imperialist is really involved in those conflicts. But it is the more that Africa refused to unite and not to do anything or to say anything. I mean, there is a mobilization, of course. We are not going to discredit that. People are awakening. There's a lot of consciousness in the continent. But are the leaders acting and taking responsibility and accountability in that manner, or are they on the same level, on the same page even? That's the question. But of course, in every it's a blessing in disguise. It will make people more conscious, and we really have to take that leadership now. And because the African Continental Free Trade Area it's in place. It has its office, by the way, where you are in Ghana. But in terms of actuality or practicality, there's a lot of questions. So now is that time for us as the citizens of Africa to catalyze, to take the lead, and to take action and to be practical, to solve such. Today, it is Ethiopia, but who will know next? It has been Mali, it has been Guinea. Today, it's Ethiopia. It will continue, as you said, it will continue. The US will continue to do what it went, to penetrate into these countries. If they don't do what the US demands to do, it will stop it. So having said that, as a last question, I just want you, to comment. I found it very appalling how the.
I think that before that, let me comment on what you just said a little bit. Okay. I think that actually we didn't point it out very well, but also Mali has been removed from the AGOA and Guinea. So now what we are seeing is not only Ethiopia that has been removed from this. Yeah. So this attack, what it shows is that it's not only an attack on Ethiopia. This is a deliberate attack on the whole of Africa, because you see Mali is very close, to Central Africa. You see Guinea is in the western part of Africa. Ethiopia is on the other side of East Africa. So this is an attack on the whole African continent, and the African people have to wake up. Actually, like you said, these leaders who have not been doing enough. Okay, some of them have been doing something. Some of them have been coming out to speak, and then sometimes they have been doing the opposite and going in a different direction. They speak out against these people, and then they go out and work with the same people. And others have been speaking out because they have been attacked. They want to use some of the leaders. What we have realized, some Pan-Africanists call them pseudo Pan-Africanists. They use Pan-Africanism for their own parochial interests, that when they see that they have been attacked, then they move around the country to try to mobilize the country. Yeah. But what we need to hold our leaders accountable to as Africans is that consistency, the consistent service of the people, the consistent service of Pan-Africanism, the looking at Pan-Africanism as the only solution for the African people. And this, I will say it, and I will say it again, that the example that has been shown by the Prime Minister Abiy of insisting from the very beginning that the issue and problems of Africa should not be sent to the United Nations, should be solved at the African Union. This shows that this person believes in African solutions. You see his mobilization of the people in building the country, you know, sponsoring the dam, you know, raising money, you know, through, you know, the individuals and the African diaspora, Ethiopian diaspora, you know, putting up things that are independent of the World Bank and the Western world. This is the Pan-Africanism we want to see. So the African presidents, I think we as the citizens and African civil society have to hold them accountable to the tenets of Pan-Africanism, not the tenets of the World Bank and you know, SDGs and MDGs and UN. No, we hold them. We have to continuously push them, you know, towards Pan-Africanism and what our forefathers, Kwame Nkrumah, you know, Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, you know, all these Pan-Africanists, Marcus Garvey, what they envisioned for the African continent and our people all around the world. These are the things which we have to hold them, you know, responsible for. And we have to continuously, tirelessly work towards this because the whole continent is under attack now. Yeah. France is doing whatever it wants in the Sahel, you know, and this is unacceptable. The African leaders should be in a position to speak out. We should not only we the citizens speak out, but all African leaders should speak out. And when you go on Twitter, for example, and examine Prime Minister Abiy's you know, Twitter account, he's constantly speaking out for Africa. He's engaging Africa. He's engaging other African leaders. You see, all over the eastern part of Africa and southern part, he has been engaging. Even today, when you go to his account, he's engaging and speaking out for Africa, and is showing that we should, you know, hold ourselves responsible, but we should find mostly solutions which are Africans, you know, to you know, which are African to our African problems, and this is the way to go for us. So the African leaders, we have to continuously, I think, push them in that direction. That this is where we want our continent, because this project is long overdue. The project of uniting Africa into a single government is long overdue. It's 60 years old. So we have to do it now. This decade should be the decade of African unity, and the next decade should be the decade of African reconstruction.
Yeah, thank you very much. That was really, I'm glad you came in the middle, and yeah, you emphasized on that point.